Fertilization process. Dear student, under this heading, you are learning about definition of fertilization and syngamy, that is comparative study between fertilization and syngamy, internal fertilization, external fertilization, differences between external and internal fertilization, and finally parthenogenesis. Dear student, let us focus on all these factors one by one. Student, let us define the process of fertilization. Fertilization is the fusion of the sperm cell nucleus with the egg cell nucleus to produce zygote. Dear student, remember these two terms, sperm cell nucleus and egg cell nucleus. Fertilization is nothing but it is the fusion of sperm cell nucleus and egg cell nucleus resulting in the formation of zygote. Zygote is fertilized egg. Dear student, we can define process of fertilization in another way also. That is, it is the process of fusion of a haploid sperm with a haploid egg to produce diploid zygote. Dear student, again focus on these two terms, haploid sperm and haploid egg. Instead of using sperm cell nucleus and egg cell nucleus, you can also use haploid sperm and haploid egg in defining fertilization process. Dear student, it is the process of fusion of haploid sperm and haploid egg resulting in the formation of diploid zygote. Diploid zygote is also known as oosperm. Dear student, this picture helps you to understand clearly what actually meant by the fertilization process. Here, haploid egg fused with the haploid sperm and resulting in the formation of diploid zygote. Dear student, the process of fertilization is not merely a fusion of gametes. It also activates the egg, triggering the beginning of embryonic development. Isn't it the process of fertilization is a vital process? This is all of about fertilization process. Dear student, let me explain you about fertilization and syngamy. Though the syngamy and fertilization are synonymously used, syngamy literally means the fusion of male and female gametes, while fertilization involves all the events leading to syngamy. Dear student, in general, both the terms syngamy and fertilization are synonymously used. But syngamy literally means the fusion of male and female gametes, whereas fertilization involves all the events leading to syngamy. Dear student, here syngamy is the most essential part of fertilization. It is the integral part of fertilization because it not only restores the diploid configuration but also combines the paternal and maternal characters. Remember, it combines the paternal and maternal characters resulting in variation. Variation is the most important aspect here because variation makes the offspring better equipped in the struggle for existence, leading to evolution. So variation leads to the evolution of offsprings. Dear student, this is all of about relative study between fertilization and syngamy. Dear student, let us focus on the phenomena internal fertilization. Here, internal fertilization is the fusion of male and female gametes which takes place within the female genital tract or inside the body of an organism. Remember, internal fertilization is nothing but it is fusion of male and female gametes. It takes place within the female genital tract, that is inside the body of an organism. Internal fertilization mainly takes place in higher organisms, higher animals like reptiles, birds, mammals, and majority of plants like bryophyte, pteridophyte, and gymnosperms. Dear student, since the chances of fertilization are certain, here the possibility of fertilization is maximum. That is why the amount of gametes produced is relatively less. Because the chances of fertilization are certain. That is why the number of gametes produced is relatively less. Dear student, here what happens in internal fertilization, the males are provided with copulatory organs. Remember, the males are provided with copulatory organs for transferring the sperms into the female genital tract. For transferring the sperms into the female genital tract during mating. During mating, what happens? The male gametes are discharged into the genital tract, where the fertilization takes place. Where the fertilization takes place. This is how the internally fertilization takes place in organisms. Here, the male organisms are provided with the copulatory organs. These copulatory organs release the sperms into the female genital tract. During mating, what happens? Here, the fusion takes place. That is, fertilization takes place. This is how the internal fertilization takes place in most of the higher organisms. This is all of about internal fertilization. Dear student, external fertilization. What actually mean by the external fertilization? Dear student, based on the location of syngamy, we actually classify the fertilization into two types. Those are external and internal fertilization. We have already studied about internal fertilization. Now we have to focus on external fertilization. External fertilization is the fusion of male and female gametes. It is the fusion of male and female gametes which takes place outside the female body. Remember, it takes place outside the female body. Where in case of internal fertilization, fusion of male and female gametes takes place inside the female body, but here in case of external fertilization, fusion takes place outside the female body. External fertilization is the characteristic feature of aquatic animals, exhibited by lower organisms like algae and fishes, as well as amphibians. It is the characteristic feature of most of the aquatic animals like algae and fishes, as well as amphibians. Bony fishes and frogs exhibit this type of external fertilization. Dear student, remember, organisms exhibiting external fertilization show great synchrony between the sexes and release a large number of gametes into the surrounding medium, that is water. Here, large number of gametes are released into the surrounding medium in order to enhance the chances of syngamy. Dear student, this is what is known as external fertilization. Dear student, let us differentiate between internal and external fertilization. Internal fertilization takes place inside the body of female parent. It takes place within the body of female parent. Whereas external fertilization takes place outside the body of parents. In case of internal fertilization, chances of fertilization are more. Whereas in case of external fertilization, chances of fertilization are less. External media is not required for internal fertilization. External media is required for external fertilization. Here in case of external fertilization, water acts as external media. Internal fertilization occurs in mammals, reptiles and in some birds. External fertilization occurs in frog, fish, mollusks. Dear student, both internal and external fertilization can also be differentiated on the basis of number of gametes produced. In case of internal fertilization, more number of male gametes, remember more number of male gametes and less number of female gametes are produced. More number of male gametes and less number of female gametes are produced in case of internal fertilization. But in external fertilization, more number of both male and female gametes are produced. Internal fertilization shows high survival rates of the embryo. It shows high survival rates of the embryo. External fertilization exhibit lower survival rates of the embryo and egg also. External fertilization shows lower survival rates of the embryo and egg. Dear student, this is all of about differences between internal and external fertilization. Parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis is unique process. Dear student, in some organisms, the egg develops into an embryo without being fertilized. Remember here, the development of the egg takes place without fertilization. The female gamete undergoes development to form new organisms without fertilization. Here, the female gamete, it undergoes development to form new organisms without fertilization. This phenomena is called parthenogenesis. This phenomena is exhibited by rotifers, honeybees, some lizards and birds. Dear student, we have already studied about fertilization process in detail, and we have also covered the factors which are related to fertilization process. Thank you.